This is the ultimate redefined for men.
Welcome to Sports News. The Nigeria Rugby Football Federation has announced that overseas-based professional rugby players will now be allowed to feature for the country's national team, the Black Stallions. This is a sequel to its preparations for the All-Africa Games qualifier in Lome from June the 6th to the 7th and the Africa Cup in Lusaka, Zambia from June the 22nd to the 27th. The NRFF confirmed that 30 players will be called up for the Black Stallions squad in early May. In club football, English Premier League club Stoke City is looking to sign Super Eagles winger Victor Moses on a permanent deal in the summer transfer window. Moses has been in impressive form in his second straight season on loan from leaders Chelsea. The Nigerian international has scored 3 goals and created 3 assists for the Potters, who currently sit in 10th place on the table and are closing in on a second straight top half finish under manager Mark Hughes. Moses has not played for Chelsea since May 2013, having spent the 2013-2014 season on loan at Liverpool. And in Africa, Morocco will play in the 2017 and 2019 African Cup of Nations after the Court of Arbitration for Sport quashed the sanctions slammed on the North African country by the Confederation of African Football. CAF hit Morocco with a ban and a fine of $1 million after it decided not to host the 2015 Cup of Nations amid fears over Ebola. But the highest appeal court in world sport said it upheld the appeal of Morocco and also reduced the fine to $50,000. CAF had also ordered the Moroccan Federation to pay $9 million for damages caused to its partners. Over in the Middle East, Palestinian Football Association will ask the FIFA Congress in May to suspend Israel from international matches, accusing it of continuing to hamper its football activities. Despite efforts by FIFA President Sepp Blatter to ease tensions, the Palestinians remain frustrated at restrictions they say Israel imposes on the movement of their athletes between the Gaza Strip and the Israeli-occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Football Association also cited curbs Israel places on the import into Palestinian territories of sports equipment and on visits by foreign teams and individuals. In horse racing, amateur jockey Lewis Ferguson was lucky after walking away after a violent fall while leading the John Dufacy Memorial Open Hunters Chase at Wincanton Racecourse. Riding Marion Square, Ferguson was approaching the final jump of the race when he was unseated, appearing to dismount as the horse leaped the fence. The jockey hit the top of the fence with his chest and was flipped in a complete somersault, narrowly avoiding landing on his neck. As Coombe Hill won the chase, medical staff hurried to help Ferguson, but he stood up and walked off the course unaided. That's it on Sports News. It's back to Ijoma with the rest of the news at 10.
This is the ultimate redefined for men.
It's been a horrific day in Kenya's northern region as the government says 147 people have been killed in the attack on Garissa University College today. Authorities have warned the death toll could rise. President Uhuru Kenyatta addressed the nation today, urging Kenyans to remain calm as security forces take control of the situation. The UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has condemned the attack, calling for those responsible to be brought to justice. Amarachi Ubani tells us more.
This attack, just like the one that happened at the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi 2 years ago, came quite unexpectedly. But a lot of information on the situation is still quite sketchy. Reports on the attackers are that they're members of the Somali group Al-Shabaab, which has threatened repeatedly more attacks on Kenya for its role in peacekeeping in nearby Somalia. The government has declared high-ranking Al-Shabaab official Mohammed Juno as the mastermind of this attack and placed a 20 million shilling bounty on his head. Students of Garissa University College said the gunmen were targeting Christians.
Details of casualties will be communicated in due course. by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government, who is coordinating operations with the Inspector General of Police in Garissa.
Meanwhile, a UN report says a number of people joining militant Islamist groups such as the Islamic State has risen by 71% between the middle of 2014 and March 2015. The group has been recruiting from around the world. A high number of fighters are said to have come from Tunisia, Morocco, France and Russia. But there has also been an increase of fighters coming from the Maldives, Finland and Trinidad and Tobago. We'll end in Egypt, where an attack on the Sinai Peninsula has left 17 people dead. The attack is said to have targeted soldiers in the area, but were carried out by a group known as Sinai Province. Those were the day's major headlines. It's back to you.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. Away from insurgency issues, politicians seeking elective position must make sacrifice their watchword. This was part of the message by the Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos, His Grace Reverend Adewale Martins, at the Mass held at the Holy Cross Cathedral on Lagos Island. Our correspondent Chris Elems reports.
Heavy traffic is witnessed as Catholic faithful troop out in their numbers to the Holy Cross Cathedral, Lagos Island, for the Chrism Mass, leading to Easter celebration. At the core of this Mass are the bishops and priests. It's a moment for renewal and commitment to the service of God's people. Activities lined up, led by the Archbishop of Lagos Diocese, Most Reverend Adewale Martins, ran seamlessly from one to another. The reading, messages, sounds of praise, offertory, communion, as well as the blessing of the oils of the sick, catechumen, and sacred chrism, a significant part of the Mass. The final procession is done, bringing the Mass to an end, and the Archbishop and his team take out time to address the press, first on the significance of the Mass.
So the significance of it, therefore, is that we must, as priests, get much more committed to the work that God has given to us.
The Archbishop also has a message for those seeking elective position.
The life of a priest is a life of sacrifice. The life of a priest is a life of deep commitment to God and to people. And I think this should ring very well in these times that people are seeking for positions of authority in the nation.
On expectation from the incoming administration, Reverend Monsignor Gabriel Osu has this to say.
They should gather their think tanks now. So between now and May 29, we want action. Not like, how will I call them? Is it disco, San Nepa, no whatnot? Telling us again they didn't know that the problems were enormous like this.
Sacrifice remains germane to successful leadership, and there is no better time to echo its essence than now, as the country goes through the moment of transition. Chris Elems, Channels Television News.
And the main news again. INEC Chairman Professor Atahiru Jega has promised to address hiccups ahead of the April the 11th Governorship and State House of Assembly elections. Professor Jega told a session of the National Assembly's committees on INEC in Abuja that the Commission will draw from its experience from the presidential polls to correct any lapses. APGA and APC have protested the conduct of the National Assembly elections in Abia State, saying they were manipulated to favor the PDP. The PDP has, however, insisted that the results are credible. And Al-Shabaab militants have killed about 70 hostages in an attack on a university college campus in northeastern Kenya. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Onyato, and coming up next is Nigeria 2015. Do have a good night.